while the whole world was ready for the new iPhone 16 release.
Good morning.
And it was the same boring stuff.
These are the best iPhones we've ever made.
iPhone 16 introduces the all-new innovative camera control.
The best iPhone battery life ever.
The fastest CPU in any smartphone.
Miles away, there was one company planning to steal the iPhone 16 hype. And we were excited about this phone. Like once the box entered TechVisor, we all wanted to see the glimpse of this phone. And the hype is justified because this phone went out of stock on the first day of release. And you have to understand, this is not cheap. If you convert it into INR, it costs 2.37 lakhs. So what's all the hype of this phone? How practical it is, and the biggest catch with Huawei phones currently. And for a change compared to other flagship phones, this phone arrives in style. Like you get this royal red box. Oh, it's a cover. Oh my god, this phone is so light. Like, let's keep it aside for a moment. There's something in Chinese because it's a Chinese phone. Inside the box, you get a 88-watt car charger. That is extra. And you get two Type-A ports on this, out of which one has fast charging support, and there is also a Type-C port attached to it. Then you also get a TWS. Oh, these look quite futuristic, and it looks quite similar to those earpieces that they use in sci-fi movies. And on the left, you get this another 66-watt fast charger with Type-A and Type-C port, and you also get two cables, a Type-A to Type-C cable and a Type-C to Type-C cable. And on the right side of the box, you get a case, and this has this carbon fiber finish. Plus in the small box, you get some extra ear tips for the TWS. Now, this is what you call a flagship unboxing. By the way, this is the black color one. There is also a red color variant of the same phone. Now, the moment you pick up the phone, you feel it's way light. Like if I put it on the weighing machine, if you see it weighs around 307 to 309 grams. But to the hands, it always feels lighter. And if you open the Mate X-T2, the triple screen in all its glory, it still feels light in hand. And a major reason for this is the curved frame and the thickness of the phone. Like if you see it side by side compared to a regular iPhone, it's incredibly thin at 3.36 mm. Like the thinnest of the Pixel Fold, which is 5.1 mm, still feels thicker than this. And there's the reason how they are able to make it so thin. See, normal foldables have two screens. One is the cover display, to use it normally unfolded, and then comes the inner folding display, which when you unfold the phone, you use it. So basically, every folding phone has two displays. But this one right here has one single screen. You use the phone unlocked, it is 6.4 inches, 90Hz display. You open it twice, it gets to 7.6 inches, 2K display, which is like a normal foldable. And when you unfold it twice, it gets to a big 10.2 inch tablet. Like this is almost the size of an iPad. So rather than being a folding smartphone, this is like a folding tablet. Now this folding mechanism has its own problems. Like usually when you fold a normal foldable, the outside part is just a metal hinge. You keep it in your pocket anywhere, there's zero chances of the display being damaged. But this thing right here, it folds on the display side. So the display side is always exposed. It is prone to scratches or it can also get damaged. There are some news coming about the damage of the displays, and to replace this huge display, it costs about half the cost of the phone. Now Huawei tries to solve this problem by giving a case that has a flap which always guards the folding display part. The case also comes with a kickstand, but the whole phone in a bunch of position itself is a stand. Also, switching from single screen to double screen is pretty easy, but opening the third screen is a bit tricky. Like you have to put your index finger on the corner of the screen and pull the screen a bit, it pops out like this. And this opening and closing of the third screen takes some time to get used to and requires extra care as well. Now you might be thinking, how did Huawei make this triple screen folding possible? So in very simple words, if you see the middle display part, it has a hinge on both the sides, so through which the triple folding is possible. Now playing YouTube videos on Mate X-T is actually a good experience. So this is how it looks in dual screen mode. A lot of portion of the screen remains unutilized, which has always been our complaint on a folding phone. But when you open the third screen, the video looks better here as less part of the screen is wasted. And also I watched the latest movie of Nani on Netflix, and boy oh boy, the experience here was so good compared to a normal smartphone or like a folding phone. Now at very extreme angles, you can see the creases. Also, this is a first gen product, so there are some shortcomings. Like it's only 90 Hz, plus in outdoors, the display isn't that bright. Some websites claim that this is 5000 nits peak brightness. There's no official word from Huawei, but I found the display to be a bit dim outside. And since we are outdoors, that brings me to the camera. So it has a triple camera setup. The highlight here is the main camera has a variable aperture. Now it can go anywhere from f1.4 to f4.0. Now in simple words, the opening opening and closing of the lens decide how much light can enter the camera. So if the aperture is f1.4, the light entering the camera is higher and you will have a good amount of background blur. And if the aperture is f4.0, the light entering the camera is lower and it will have a lesser background blur. So we clicked a picture on f1.4 and f4.0 side by side, and you can see the difference in brightness as well as the background blur. Now pictures from the main camera are meh, like the colors are off, it's contrasty at times. It could be because it's tuned for more Chinese skin tone. Even in low light, the photos aren't that sharp. Now, a very interesting thing here to note is, in videos, you can shoot maximum in 4K 60 FPS, and this is how the video quality is. Again, there's no 8K recording, and I feel the camera is average majorly because of processor, and there's a reason for this processor downgrade. The Huawei Mate X-T comes with Kirin 9010 processor. It's a 12-core processor based on a 7nm process. Yes, 7nm. To give you an idea, the last time Snapdragon used 7nm was with Snapdragon 855, and that too in 2018. 6 years ago. Now we ran the AnTuTu benchmark, which gives an overall score to the phone's CPU, GPU, RAM, etc. And it scored somewhere around 8.7 lakh, which is somewhere around Snapdragon 7 Gen 3. Now all of these downgrades have one big reason, and actually that's the reason stopping Huawei from being the top smartphone company. US sanctions. Yes. In 2019, US put sanctions on Huawei because of spying reasons, so they can't take the components required to make a smartphone like the processor and even the software. Now, giving this context was important because Huawei can't use Android from Google. So currently the Huawei phones run on Harmony OS, which is basically built on open source Android 12 to be precise. And you can think of it like a custom ROM, and it doesn't have the necessary Google services to even run a Google Play Store. Now there is a workaround, it's a bit complicated, and even after that, some apps just don't work here. Like we installed BGMI on this, but it wouldn't open. Then we also installed COD Warzone. It's just stuck on this splash screen. Then we tried with COD Mobile and that works. But you can only play it at 90 FPS even in low graphics. While the gameplay was good and all of that, and gaming on this big display was really fun, but the graphics here weren't sharp. And this is majorly due to the processor here. And again, US sanction. And as per reports, the Kirin 9010 draws the same amount of power like a Snapdragon 8 Gen processor, but gives lesser performance. Now Snapdragon, every processor company takes CPU design from ARM. So whether be it Apple, Google, Samsung or Qualcomm, all have the same CPU ARM design. But ARM has banned Huawei from using their latest design. So in simple words, as of now, Huawei does not have the tech to make powerful and efficient processors. So coming back to the Huawei Mate X-T, like for the innovation, it deserves a solid 10 on 10. Like there were triple folding phones before this, but in fact, this is the first triple folding phone that normal consumers can buy. Now, if Huawei didn't have those sanctions, they would have given a tough competition both in normal smartphones and foldable space as well. But again, there will always be that question, if Huawei didn't have those sanctions, what would Huawei have been in terms of normal smartphone or foldable smartphone, or how would have been the Indian smartphone market with Huawei? Now again, in 2025, we might see many brands bringing tri-folding phones as well. I just hope they are more durable and definitely not 2.5 lakh. This video took a lot of efforts. If you watched it here, like it. And on that note, here's your mate signing off. Pratik, see you in the next video. Pew, pew, pew. Note, mate.